Welcome to another episode of China Update, where I provide you with the most up-to-date political, economic, and geostrategic analysis on the world's number 2 economy. My name is Tony. Let's jump in. Happy Friday, everybody. I hope you've had a productive week and have a restful weekend ahead. After trillions of dollars of value lost from its peak in 2021, are China's stock markets finally beginning to stabilize? The markets have now risen for 8 consecutive trading days, and the Shanghai Composite is almost back to 3,000. After a choppy start, the benchmark CSI 300 index ended Thursday just shy of 1% higher, capping its longest run of gains since July 2020. In Hong Kong, the Hang Seng China Enterprises Index jumped about 2%, close to wiping out its losses for the year. The markets are still down year on year and well behind other competitors, but so far this is not too bad. We have seen policymakers throw a lot at this problem over the last month, including directing large state funds to buy up shares in large quantities. Are these efforts finally working, or is this just a temporary rally? Even if successful, if 2015, the last stock market crash, can act as a guide, these state funds may be stuck holding some shares for many years. Meanwhile, in a press briefing on Thursday, responding to a Bloomberg report that the Chinese Securities Regulatory Commission had banned institutional investors from reducing equity holdings at the open and close of each trading day, a development we covered in yesterday's video, the regulator said that it was simply cracking down on abnormal trading and was not restricting selling. We also covered the quant ban in yesterday's video. To supplement that coverage, we note today that in a note from Man Group's Zhang Fang, the analyst observed today that China's equity rout a few weeks ago was exacerbated by quantitative funds stampeding to exit positions. Quote, akin to a 2007 episode in the US when such investors suffered an abrupt meltdown that roiled markets. End quote, adding that the unwinding of these funds' positions was so massive that, quote, it spurred small-cap stocks to underperform by a historic margin. China's intervention to stem the turmoil also caused significant market dislocations, compounding the losses for these funds. End quote. Next up, China has hardened its pro-Gaza stance in recent days. Yesterday, Thursday, Ma Xinmin, a Chinese Foreign Ministry legal advisor, told the International Court of Justice in The Hague in the Netherlands that the Palestinians have the, quote, right to use force to resist foreign occupation and to complete the establishment of the Palestinian state, end quote, adding that, quote, acts of violence against Israelis by Palestinians are not terrorism, but rather legitimate armed struggle, end quote. Later in his statement, Ma expressed, quote, justice has been long delayed, but it must not be denied. 57 years have passed since Israel began its occupation of the occupied Palestinian territories. The unlawful nature of the occupation and sovereignty over the occupied territories remain unchanged. End quote. Regular viewers know that China has leaned pro-Palestinian and Iran since the outbreak of the Gaza war, and still tried to maintain warm relations with Israel. This new statement represents a rhetorical hardening and firmer alignment with Palestine. Of course, some commentators have been quick to point out that China, with its own vast imperial territories and settler colonialism, would be ill-advised to advocate the international legal principle that people, quote, freeing themselves from colonial rule, end quote, is, quote, not terrorism, but rather legitimate armed struggle, end quote. Next up, a massive information leak reveals much about China's international espionage efforts. But just quickly, as always, if you enjoyed today's episode, it's a huge help if you like and subscribe. 45% of regular viewers are not subscribed, and this is the only way the channel can grow. And for those who want to go the extra mile and help me keep China Update financially sustainable, Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee links are in the description below. Thank you so much, everybody, as always, for the ongoing support. Next up, a large leak of documents released online, which includes screenshots, price tables, and internal messages, has revealed that PRC authorities turned to private companies to hack an array of foreign governments and organizations, as well as spy on its own citizens. That private company is Shanghai Anxun Information Technology, also known as iSoon. The documents, which industry experts believe to be authentic, appeared to reveal successful attacks on a series of high-value government targets in 2021 and 2022, from the UK Foreign Office to the Royal Thai Army and even the NATO Secretary-General. They've also revealed many details about the operations. For example, a government in southwest China paid less than $15,000 for access to the private website of traffic police in Vietnam. Software that helped run disinformation campaigns and hack accounts on X cost $100,000. US-based The New York Times reports that parts of China's government will still engage in sophisticated top-down hacks, like endeavoring to place code inside US core infrastructure. Quote, but the overall number of hacks originating in China has surged and targets have ranged more broadly, including information about Ebola vaccines and driverless car technology. End quote. That has fueled a new industry of contractors like iSoon. The New York Times piece continues to explain that, quote, although a part of the cloak and dagger world of Chinese cyber espionage, the Shanghai company, which also has offices in Chengdu, epitomizes the amateurishness that many of China's relatively new contractors bring to hacking. The documents showed that at times the company was not sure if services and data it was selling were still available. For instance, it noted internally that the software to spread disinformation on X was under maintenance, despite its $100,000 price tag. US-based The Washington Post reports that this international hacking effort has been vast. Quote, one spreadsheet listed 80 overseas targets that iSoon hackers appeared to have successfully breached. The haul included 95.2 gigabytes of immigration data from India and a 3 terabyte collection of call logs from South Korea's LGU Plus telecom provider. The group also targeted other telecommunications firms in Hong Kong, Kazakhstan, Malaysia, Mongolia, Nepal, and Taiwan. End quote. iSoon clients also requested or obtained infrastructure data, according to the leaked documents. The spreadsheet showed that the firm had a sample of 459 gigabytes of road mapping data from Taiwan. The implications, of course, are clear. Quote, understanding the highway terrain and location of bridges and tunnels is essential so you can move armed forces and infantry around the island in an effort to occupy Taiwan. End quote. Commentators argue that the leak is both embarrassing and damaging for Beijing. May Danowski, a former intelligence analyst and China commentator on the Substack publication NATO Thoughts, argues that iSoon has achieved the highest security classification that a non-state-owned company can receive, which qualifies the company to conduct classified research and development related to state security. John Hultquist, chief analyst at Mandiant Intelligence, part of Google Cloud, told UK-based The Financial Times today, quote, we have every reason to believe this is the authentic data of a contractor supporting global and domestic cyber espionage operations out of China. End quote. He speculates that this leak could have come from a rival intelligence service, a dissatisfied insider at iSoon, or even another Chinese cyber security contractor. Adding, quote, we rarely get such unfettered access to the internal workings of any intelligence operation. End quote. In response to a question on this massive leak at a press conference yesterday, Thursday, a PRC Foreign Ministry spokesperson expressed, quote, I am not familiar with the matter. End quote. Okay, that is today's episode of China Update. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Have a good Friday, and I will see you all tomorrow.